Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rush's World. So we are talking about my weight loss transformation. We are in the middle of my weight loss journey. So we have crossed phase one. So just a small recap. Phase one, start slow, start implementing good lifestyle changes, adapt to a good diet. I made 5 to 6 lifestyle changes. I adapted to intermittent fasting, which suited me. Anything that suits you, just pick on that. So that's what I did in phase one. I lost 2 to 3 kgs. Now we are in phase two. So phase two, I started with, or I was weighing around 66, 67. It started in first week of February. So phase one was January. Phase two, it started in the week of February. So I thought to myself, since I had just lost 2 kgs and I had literally mastered those lifestyle changes, so that was an achievement. What more can I do to kick off that, weight loss? So again, I went on the internet. I came across something called being in a calorie deficit. Yes. So if you want to really lose that weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. For example, whatever calories you're eating in a day, probably they will maintain your weight. If you eat more calories, of course you will gain weight, but if you're eating whatever other desired calories your body needs for the day, you will just maintain. But if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, eat lesser calories. So that's what I did. So for example, calorie deficit, more information to give you is, suppose if you need 2000 calories, any human body if needs 2000 calories to survive or intake for the day, you have to minus 500 calories from that and be in a calorie deficit to lose that weight on daily basis, so that you start losing weight. That is what is being in a calorie deficit. So at that point of time when I was 66, 67, my body needed around, I think, 17 or 1800 calories. I had to minus 500, which was a big calorie number. So I didn't want to go there, but I knew whatever I was eating was not going to help me lose weight. I had to eat less. Again, not a very calorie tracker or keeping a calories of 200 calories breakfast, 300, blah, blah, blah. No. I just knew that I have to eat less. So I decided to go in a calorie deficit. So that is what I implemented in phase two, along with my ongoing lifestyle changes that I continued with. I went into a calorie deficit in phase two. So there is a calorie deficit calculator online. If you just Google, it will ask you to input certain details. Just input those details. So you will know what is the number of calories your body needs in a day. Just minus 500 calories if possible for you, or minus 3 to 400 calories. It's not strictly minus 500 calories. All you need to do is not eat that amount of desired calories for the day, eat lesser calories. That's it. So that's what I decided in phase two. Now, what did I eat in phase two? As I said, I was doing intermittent fasting for a particular window and eating for a particular window. So by the time I entered phase two, I was fasting for 14 hours. So rest was my eating window. So what I did strictly in phase two to be in a calorie deficit is I literally very rarely or almost stopped eating out. That controlled my calories. That's the first thing I did. I stopped ordering food, because I didn't want to intake those extra calories for the day. I started eating lesser or a controlled amount of food. For example, my breakfast, if I had poha, I had upma, I had it less, but just to compensate that rest of the hunger. Suppose if I had less poha, of course there was some empty space and there was some hunger left. So I had coffee. As I said, coffee I strictly implemented in phase two. I strictly started with black coffee for my breakfast. If I still felt hungry, I had fruits. Fruits are the saviors if you are on a weight loss journey. If you really feel hungry, just have fruits anytime, day, night, whenever you're hungry, just have fruits. I used to have fruits. Apple and banana were my besties in my entire weight loss journey. So controlled amount of breakfast or lesser breakfast with a fruit, of course. Now lunch. So the main implementation or the new thing that I introduced in my plate was a bowl full of salad. I cut down on one chapati. I had a big bowl of vegetable, curry or any dry masala vegetable that you make, big bowl, and a big bowl of salad. So phase two in my diet, I implemented salad because of course if I had cut down on one chapati, it had to compensate with something else. Of course, I was not going to eat one chapati and get up. I had to compensate, so I decided to eat salad in phase two. So my one bowl of salad was a must, which I implemented in phase two in the month of February. So salad was not very fancy. Cucumber, beetroot, carrot every day. One cucumber, one carrot, and half a beetroot was a must in my plate. One chapati, no oil chapati, and any vegetable that is made in the house. Anything. That was my lunch. I think this is a filling lunch. But sometimes, if you really feel like having that second chapati, please have it. It's not, again, going too harsh and strict on yourself. Initial stage of phase two will go a little difficult because you're being in a calorie deficit. But whatever you can replace, please replace. If you can stop eating rice, please stop eating rice. That's what I did. So that's how my phase two went. In my plate, I implemented or I introduced salad, one bowl of salad, because that was cutting down on one chapati or rice. So again, I was going in a calorie deficit in phase two. My dinner again, I continued the same. I ended my day with good snacks. Now, phase two, I did have sometimes the diet chuda, which you get in the market, because my body used to crave for some spicy and chatpata food, so I used to have that. But sometimes I ended my day with a small cup of tea, a fruit, or a diet chuda or makanas chana. All this was my favorite. All this was my favorite. Now this is what I followed. Any diet plan, suppose you are going to intake 1300 calories a day, there are a lot of diet plans online, what all you can eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and stick to that 1300 calorie. Please follow that, because you know now you have to be in a calorie deficit. So whatever is that amount, if you really if you really want to be in that calorie deficit of only 1300, because I was a person who knew I have to be in a calorie deficit, so I went on minusing chapati, minusing rice. But if you are a person who can follow that 1300 calorie diet or a plan, there are so many diet plans online which say 1300 calories, 1500 calories a day. And if you really find interesting recipes which you can follow, just follow it. But phase two was all about being in a calorie deficit. However you can follow, whatever you can do. I went into a calorie deficit. You can also go in a calorie deficit. So phase two, I lost 4 kgs. Ta-da! Yes, I lost 4 kgs. It was February, mid of March. So 1.5 months, I went into a calorie deficit and I lost 4 kgs. So by now, I have lost 6 kgs. From a 69, I am 63. Yes, I'm 63, mid-March. So I was very happy. By the end of phase two, I was 63, 64, I think. I was very, very happy with myself, because being in a calorie deficit with those good lifestyle changes really kicked off my weight loss. So I was so happy. I was on top of the world. You could see that 6 kg that I lost in phase one and phase two. Physically, I had started seeing that. By the end of phase two, I could control my cravings of eating out. I could control of not overeating. I had mastered my lifestyle changes. So all these things happened in a 2-month span, like January, February, mid-March, 2.5 months. I think 2.5 months is good enough for you to master a good lifestyle and, to not go on a very strict diet, just as per your convenience. So it's not that in phase two, I did not eat out at all. There were times like once in 15 days, I would eat out. In phase two, very funny thing, what I did was I literally uninstalled Uber, Swiggy, Zomato from my phone. I literally uninstalled it, guys. I made sure I really avoid going out on weekends. I made sure I eat at home only. So this was what I did in phase two, lost 4 kgs. End of phase two, I'm 63, 64. Big achievement. My body's feeling good. My body's feeling light. No acidity, no body pains, no leg pain, no back pain, nothing at all. So I lost 6 kgs. Body's giving those results. I have started losing weight. Now, what else I did in phase three, something new I implemented, which just boosted that, and I was there. Please stay tuned. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.